Hello and welcome to this week's Little Fishes, our children's church. It's really lovely to have you join us this morning. Well, this week we are looking at how to be loving our neighbours. Now that might be a bit of a challenge at the moment because we're not really seeing our neighbours out and about because we're all tucked so safely in our homes. So who actually is our neighbour? Now that is a really good question. Is our neighbour the person who maybe lives to the right or to the left of us? Or is our neighbour somebody who lives in our village, say in Ensham or Cassington? Or is our neighbour somebody completely different to all of that? Well, do you know, it's such a good question that people asked the same question of Jesus many years ago, and he answered them with a story. So Duncan is now going to lead us in a story that Jesus told about loving your neighbour.
One day, there was a man who had to go on a long journey. He packed his bags with something to eat and something to drink to keep himself going, and off he went. It was a hot day, and sometimes he had to take his cap off. And off he went on this long journey along a lonely and dusty road. Very soon, along this long and dusty road, there were some rocks, and the path wound between the rocks, and it was a dark place full of shadows. "I don't like it here," said the man. He had a funny feeling that someone was watching him. And sure enough, from behind the rocks jumped two robbers. "Robbers! Aha!" And they took everything that the man had, and they left him as though he was dead and ran off behind the rocks and away. What was going to happen to our man? Well, luckily enough, there was a very important bishop coming along the road. And he was off. He had some things to get done, but he saw the man and well, he crossed over onto the other side. He said, "I got too much to do." Perhaps he thought he was too important. I don't know. Or perhaps he just didn't want to get his hands mucky. So off he went on the other side of the road. But don't worry. Sure enough, a little later, a judge came along the road. Surely he's going to help our man. But he took one look and said, "I haven't got time, and I'm very important." And off he went onto the other side of the road and disappeared behind the rocks and away. Who's going to help if it wasn't the bishop or the judge? Who will help our man? Well, coming along that road was somebody from a different country, a different land. They didn't always get on very well either. But this man, we might have thought that he would have crossed over the other side of the road, but he got off his horse. He went to have a look at our man. He helped him sit up, and he took care of his wounds, and he gave him some water and some food from his pack, and he put the man on his own horse and took him off to find somewhere to stay. The man gently led the poorly man on his own horse along the dusty path, and they eventually got to a town, and the foreign man who had helped our friend went to the innkeeper and said, "My friend is poorly. if I give you some money, will you look after him? And when I come back, I will give whatever more it has cost. And so the man was looked after by the innkeeper, and he got better. Now, Jesus said, who was the good neighbour? Was it the bishop? Was it the judge? Or was it the person from a different country? What do you think?
Thank you, Duncan. So, how can we go about loving our neighbours at this difficult time? Well, one thing we can do is to do something that's visual to let those people around us know that we care about them and that we're still thinking about them. And there's an initiative at the moment which is called Love Your Street, or it's also known or advertised as Heartwarming Your Street. And what you do is you make as many different hearts as you can. You can see some of the ones that I've made here. And you just hang them in your street. Or if you leave them for 3 days, you can pop gloves on and then pop them through your neighbour's door with a little message letting them know that you're still here and you still care about them. So I thought it'd be fun to make some hearts this morning. There's many different ways you can do them, but I've offered you a way in the bags that would have come to your home if you're local. What you need to do is take out the heart, which is made out of cardboard. Now, if you're not local, you just cut out a heart from a cereal packet or something and make little slits into it, which will hold the wool that we're going to use, or the string you can use as well in place. Now you take the wool and you pop it through the first slit like that, and then you just wrap it around and around your heart. You can use string, wool, embroidery thread, lots of different things, or even just cut something up really finely so you're using like a rag. And you just wrap it round and round and round, and if it looks like it's going to slip off, you just slit it into one of the tiny slits that you've made. You see there? And then just keep wrapping. And eventually, if you wrap enough, you will get it to look like this one here, when you can no longer see the cardboard. It doesn't matter if you use several different bits of wool, you just tuck them under the first, and when you've finished, you tuck it, lift up a thread, and just tuck it underneath, and that will hold it in place. It's quite hard for you to see because I chose a dark wool, sorry about that. And then you can just cut a piece of wool off and tie it on the top like this, like I have there. So you've got something to hang it with. And then you can hang it in a tree in your garden or somewhere else that you think might be creative. So let's love our street this week by sharing little hearts around the place and letting the neighbours know we're still thinking about them, we're still caring about them, and we're still loving them in Jesus' name. We're going to finish with a song now that Duncan will be leading us in. It's a fun one. It doesn't matter if you're having a bright day or if you're a little bit like the man in our story and your day's not been going very well at all. Sometimes you just need to worship Jesus in whatever situation you're in. And if you jump around or sing the song, then sometimes that can just lift your day anyway and help you to feel much better. Well, I hope you enjoy the song. I hope you enjoyed the craft and the story. And we will see you next week in the afternoon at 4 o'clock with our Valentine God is Love children's service. Until then, take care. Goodbye.
Okay, we're going to sing now. This is a song that you can join in. It's really easy. You might know it already, or you can just dance along wherever you are. Here we go. 3, 4. I lay my life down at your feet, 'cause you're the only one I need. I I turn to you and you are always there. In troubled times it's you I seek. I put you first, that's all I need. A humble Lord, I am all to you. One way, Jesus, you're the only one that I can live for. One way, Jesus, you're the only one that I can live for. You were always, always there, every how and everywhere. Your grace abounds so deeply within me. You will never ever change. Yesterday, today, the same. Forever or forever means no end. One way, Jesus, you're the only one that I can live for. One way, Jesus, you're the only one that I can live for. One way, Jesus, you're the only one that I can live for. One way, Jesus, you're the only one that I can live
for. Well, we hope you had fun dancing around to that, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Don't forget, in the afternoon for our Valentine's service, God is Love, at 4 o'clock. See you then.
Bye.